if you manifest things enough, like, and you want it bad enough, like, I don't think there's any doubt you can get it. Everybody says, like, yes, NFL's a dream, like, no doubt about it. But my goal when playing in NFL was to be able to do what I really want to do. That's farm.
That makes too much sense, honestly.
Right. I mean, we're chasing Super Bowl. There's no doubt about it. Everything's good until it's not. That was the point where you realize that, damn, like that really just happened. So.
Hey y'all, it's Pat. Welcome to another episode of Like a Farmer, powered by Ag America. I'm excited for today's guest. I'm here in Columbus, Ohio, and I've got Mr. Cade Stover on the show. Cade, thanks for coming on the show today.
Hell yeah, super pumped to do it.
And I want to start off with the 123rd pick of the Houston Texans, Cade Stover. Dude, how cool was that with Sketch announcing your name?
So I wasn't even watching it. I didn't watch any of the draft. Like,
at all?
No, I didn't turn it on one time.
And you just got a call from a Houston area code? Or?
Well, we were on I had headphones on just so I didn't miss it because we were working around and planting at the time. So Dad had his 9600 Ford and we were unhooking his chisel plow from that. And I was literally, I remember, I mean, I had the jack and then I had headphones on one ear and then the other one was just hanging off and my phone rang and I took it and then there was a Houston area code and that was it.
Hold on. So and this is why I love that you're on the show today. So you mean to tell me you're on the farm, working the farm with Pops, and you get the call, hey, you've just been drafted to the Houston Texans?
I swear, yeah. D'Amico was like, hey, Cade, it's D'Amico Ryans. Man, how you feel? We're going to turn this pick in for you here. And I was like, oh. Yeah, I like distinctly. Like.
And did you have any idea that this at the time might have been the most viral TikTok or whatever you want to call them, Sketch was calling your name out?
Well, no, but like, because you don't know. Like, I was just in there, like, so I obviously told Dad, I shared that moment, and then my mom was over by the patio, like blowing the patio off or something, and I told her, and then all of a sudden, like once, because you hear like 10 minutes before, 5 minutes before, kind of, and then all of a sudden, like they're like, your phone starts blowing up and you see all these videos and it's fucking Sketch on there. I'm like, holy shit. Like, I mean, everybody knows who that is, you know what I mean? Obviously.
Yeah.
So, no, it was cool. It was really.
And then you get to say, like, oh, I'm getting reunited with my college quarterback for your last 2 years, CJ. Like, what did that mean to you?
So, I was on the phone with him earlier that morning because, like, with all honesty, like, we were expected, like, me, my agent, like, I think a lot of people were expecting to go the day before, day two. And day two passes by and we're like it didn't happen. So CJ, he texts me the night before. He goes, dude, I don't know what's going on. And then he calls me the morning of. He's like, dude, I don't know what's going on. I keep telling him, like, what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? And then he's like, dude, like, tell me who likes you. So and I'm like, okay, this team likes me. Like, if you can jump in front of them, like, it'd be great. You know what I mean? So then, but everything worked out, like, I think for the best. So.
That's awesome, man. And I'm going to start from the beginning. So growing up, we're here in Ohio, and listen, you know, I'm a Gator, so the fact that I'm in Columbus, Ohio right now, it bothers me a little bit. I'm excited to be at the college house of Cade Stover. This is an unbelievable setup. I was talking to the guys today setting up, and it's like, this has got to be one of the coolest setups because, I mean, we're here on the Ohio State University at your college house. But, like, tell me how it was growing up in Mansfield, Ohio, on Stover Farms. Like, how was that growing up?
Dude, it was awesome. It's like, when you think of, like, the typical Midwest town, as far as, like, just gritty, tough, and, like, just down-to-earth, humble people, like, it's exactly what it was. Just a bunch of blue-collared, hard-working people that just that just love where they're from, even though a lot of people would hate it. Like, we're so proud of it just because of that exact reason. I mean, and then you grew up this close to Ohio State, like, I mean, like here, like when I'm at the airport in Houston, you know when you're on the right plane because everybody's got Buckeye gear. Everybody's got Buckeye gear on. Everybody.
That's fantastic. And it goes back to, you know, and we were talking a little bit off camera why Josh and I wanted to start this show. It's like we want to celebrate rural America and the people that come from it, and we want to educate the people that want to be tied to rural America. Like, this lifestyle is continuing to get more popular. And anytime we can bring somebody on the show who's built from rural America, because I'm excited to hear about, you know, where you came from and how that made you successful today. Because I know growing up on the farm, you learned values and traits of how to be success in whatever you want to do in life, because I know for a fact you learned how to overcome adversity growing up on a farm. So like growing up Stover Farms, tell me what y'all do out there, and how was that growing up working on the farm?
Yeah, so my dad, he's a first generation farmer, and like nowadays, like that's very, like everybody knows probably watching the show, like that's tough, and that's rough. So the dude started off with 2 head of cows up there. He bought the farm in '99, and now we feed, roughly 80 head of feeder calves up there, and we sell freezer beef to probably 350, 400 people across Ohio now. And he's done really, really good doing that. But growing up on that, it was tough. My dad works a full-time excavating business here. It's Stover Excavating. Him and his brother own it in Columbus. So he drives an hour 15 each way in the morning and at night. And then on top of that, at the farm. So like as a kid, if you wanted to spend time with Pops, like you got to go outside. You're holding the flashlight from the time you could actually grip the flashlight. You know what I mean? So that's really, I learned 95% of everything I know just from watching, just from being out there, like, and like that, like when you see somebody like a guy like that work like that, and just, basically like there was times where like that dude would work himself like to nothing, like he was just did not know when to stop, or like just he had to keep going because farming is his dream, but it wasn't big enough to financially supply our family. So that's been my goal my whole entire life, is just be able to give him that option to be like, dude, you're not moving dirt anymore. Like, come home, just farm and do what we want to do. Like, we're not asking like to get rich and sit down for the rest of our lives. Like, we actually just want to farm for the rest of our lives and be able to do what we want to do on that farm. And to be honest with you, that's taught me the most. And just, you go through times, like we tried to open a butcher shop for a while. We had a butcher shop in Columbus down here that we retailed out of. Then we had a butcher shop in Mansfield where we killed and did all the actual processing out of. And Dad opened that up. I think I was in 8th grade. No, I was a freshman in high school. Needless to say, it didn't work out. Things got like super, super tight because we were trying to make all this work. And like when you see a dude that works that hard and something not work out for him, like that's a time and a moment where like he sat down like with all of us as family, and like it's really not like him to be able to be like, hey, like this ain't working out, and like this is rough, you know what I mean? And like in Spark Notes version of it, you know what I mean? So like just little moments like that I carry like consistently no matter what I'm doing. Like, don't forget why you're doing this. Don't forget like you're so close to getting and giving him the opportunity and giving us the opportunity as a family to be like, dude, we can do this now. Like, you're good. You don't have to work. You don't got to wake up at 4. You don't got to get home at 8 o'clock and feed cows and go fix our shitty equipment we're working on. Like, we're going to have nice stuff. We're going to have a nice farm, and we can do it and make a good living at it.
And see, that's so cool because you don't hear a ton of stories on that side of somebody growing up on a farm, and like you want to work every single day in your football profession to make the farm life for your family easier. Like even talking to you for the first few months that I've gotten to know you, it's like you're not forgetting where you come from. Even when it comes to you wanting to come on the show and like sponsors that you've had in college and moving forward, like you build yourself around this rural America community. Like it's in you. You're passionate about it.
Right. Like there's like, everybody says like, yes, NFL's a dream. Like no doubt about it. NFL is like, this is your, like every kid wants to play NFL. Like, and I'm super pumped. I have too. But my goal when playing in NFL was to be able to do what I really want to do. And that's farm, buy my own dream farm. Like I just sat down with the guy I'm looking to buy his farm off of yesterday, and like it's moving along. Like hopefully like first of year wise, like I'll be in like, hey, like this place I've driven by in the 4-wheeler since I was 6 or 7 years old. Like I can finally get this place and it can be mine. You know what I mean?
So if you weren't playing football, you'd be a farmer, full-time farmer.
Our farm's not big enough to do that, so I'd probably be moving dirt, smoking cigarettes, and fucking getting after it.
I love that. But with your success that has happened and what's happening on the football field, I mean, you're going to invest in farmland and the family farm. I mean, you want to keep it going for generations to come.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I just think that, I mean, nobody's making any more land. Like that's an old adage, I guess. But like, if you look at one thing that consistently keeps going up, it's land, because everybody needs land. There's more people coming in here, and nobody's making any more land. So I don't think it's a bad investment whatsoever. And if I can make a living farming it, awesome.
You're spot on. And let's step off the field a little bit because we talked before we sat down. I've got a great team who does due diligence on everybody who sits in that chair. And holy cow, man. I mean, I know you're playing football, but basketball? I mean, dude, I think you still hold the scoring record at your high school.
Oh.
Like, where did that skill set come? I mean, you were a dude on the basketball court.
So I was a hooper. I'm still probably technically a hooper by heart. Just you don't see very many 6'4" white guys in the NBA.
Yeah.
So you got to balance your wins and losses there. Regardless, in high school, I was really, really lucky to have an unbelievable like class. So like even growing up, my pops coached us when we were like basically 3rd through 6th grade. Like he was our coach, and we're this little team from Mansfield, Lexington, Ohio. Like, and we're like, damn, like we're kind of running through competition up here. Like, so we're like, okay, like let's go try our luck in Columbus. We're like, damn, like we're smoking people down here in Columbus. You know what I mean? Like we're just these 5 little white dudes that are just, we can shoot, we play defense, and the main thing was like even in like when we got to high school, we played with each other for so long that like, I mean, there were times where like the teams would try and press us because we wouldn't always be the most athletic team, but the ball would not touch the ground. The ball just zipped around the court, and you just get layups and play defense, and we shot the lights out.
Was it basketball and football growing up that you were playing?
I played baseball. We played baseball till 8th grade. Then I stopped to play AAU basketball because originally that's what I was like, hey, I thought that was going to be a ticket really because
I'm going to be a hooper, yeah.
That's what I wanted to be. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you're good. Like, I mean, you're 6'2", you're 6'1" in 8th grade, you're dominating, you know what I mean? Then you get to high school and you keep playing well, but then I had a couple offers to go play hoops. I had a few offers to play both hoops and like Bowling Green.
Yeah.
Like a couple of MAC schools, they were going to let you play both football and basketball. That was really, really tempting because, I mean, why not? You know what I mean? It's awesome. But then again, like you look down the road, longevity-wise, like you would never be good enough at either one of those sports to do anything if you tried to play both. You know what I mean? And
you're playing football, and you got, I think were you Mr. Football and Gatorade Player of the Year in Ohio, right?
Yep.
So, which is unbelievable. I mean, like I mentioned, I mean, you're hooping on the basketball court, you're a boss on the football field. At what point in time were you like, all right, I guess I'm going to play football? Because that had to be a tough decision.
Right. So my first offers came from basketball. West Virginia was like, I went down to camp there because my athletic director in high school was like, he was the, not like assistant, but kind of like just secretary of Bob Huggins, right? When he was at Cincinnati. And so he gets me hooked up down there with him. So we go down to West Virginia. He takes me down himself. The athletic director of my high school takes me down to West Virginia. We go and I play, and the guy's like, dude, like, we love you. And I was his kind of guy, like, you know what I mean? Like, I rebounded, I played defense, and like, I just made the right play. Said, dude, we love you, but like, if you want to be good and like you want to play here, like, you can't play football. Like, you gotta, I mean, we'll take you, but you gotta play football. You can't be playing football. You gotta play basketball. You gotta commit yourself to basketball. And I wasn't ready to do that. You know what I mean? Because, like, well, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? And then you keep rolling, you keep getting through, you keep a couple years, and then after my freshman year of football, I got like Miami of Ohio offered me, right? And then Oklahoma offered me. And then once you have a big school offer you, then everybody's like, hey, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, funny story, like my freshman year of high school, right? Like Urban Meyer drives up, right? And I don't know, like, I have no clue he's coming up. You're a Gator guy, so take it with a grain of salt here. He drives up to high school. There's a call, like teacher comes in. He's like, hey, like, they need you down in the athletic office. Like, all right. You know what I mean? Like, I'm really not, like, I have a Miami of Ohio offer. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not really getting heavily recruited, so you're not really expecting anything of it. And I sit down in this room. Nobody's in there. He said, well, give him 1 second. I'm going to bring him in. And he walks in, Urban, looks at me, up and down, goes like this, shakes my hand, walks out the door.
Are you kidding? That's it. Doesn't even say anything.
No.
Just looks you down and then walks out.
Walks out. And then the next day, I get a call saying, hey, we'd like you to come down to Ohio State.
Dude, that's urban. That makes too much sense, honestly.
Right. And
So
he
didn't say one word. He looked you up and down, shook your hand, and walked out.
He may have been like, are you ready? Looked you up and down, and that was out the door. And I came home, though. I'd tell Dad, I'm like, this fucking guy, like, he can't say a word, Joel. Can't even, like, have a conversation with me. You know what I mean? Like, so I was kind of pissed, but really happy, obviously really happy he came up there. And Dad's like, dude, it's just a mind game, because he played football at Bowling Green, obviously. Not to that level, but, like, still played ball. So then they texted my head coach, was like, hey, we'd like to have Cade come down to come watch practice or whatever. And then came down and watched practice and came down one other time. And then I think the time after that, they were like, hey, like, do you want to come here? You want to commit here? Like, you got an offer to play here. So it's hard to pass that up.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, so getting into now, you're playing at the time. Were you playing? Because I know you really started playing on the other side of the ball. You were a defensive guy, right?
Right.
You're playing linebacker.
Right. So I was a free safety in high school.
Okay, free safety. So was it in your mind you're playing D going into college?
100%. Like, there were a couple, like, towards the end of, like, my high school career, there were a couple, like, SEC schools, like Ole Miss, Georgia, and LSU would offer me as tight end. And I've never, like, I played full-time quarterback my junior year, and I played full-time running back my senior year. Like, never, ever put my hand in the dirt. Like, never, ever been lined up in a tight end, like, three-point stance. So me and my dad are like, dude, I'm not playing tight end. Like, I'm not a tight end. You know what I mean? I'm a freaking linebacker. And that's kind of the way I'm wired, is that way. And so we're like,
you just want to hit somebody.
Right. And so it's a 4-3 defense. Like, here, I was playing the same outside backer. So I covered the tight end the whole time. Just fine. I loved it. Was good at it. Except that we had a lot of other guys better than me at that point. Like, we had Pete Warner, we had Malik Harrison, like, dudes that are going to play, that are in their 5th, 6th year in the NFL right now. And, like, you come from a little high school that's basically just not a whole lot of fundamentals being taught. You know what I mean? Like, I was raw. Like, never really been coached on how to, like, hey, this is where you put your hand. This is how you move your feet. Like, I was just naturally, like, it was toss the ball, go left, toss the ball, go right, and just make something happen. You know what I mean? And on defense, it was just come downhill and just whack stuff.
Yeah, find that ball.
Right, and that's what I did. And then when I got here, like, you're like, oh, shit, like, there's a lot more to this than what I thought. And so me and my roommate Tommy here, we redshirted. Like, and if it wasn't for him, like, I think I would have probably left this place.
And was it always like, I mean, growing up in Ohio, I'm assuming you grew up a Buckeye.
Make a long story short, not really. So my uncle walked on here, and my dad's youngest brother walked on here as a defensive back. Didn't ever planned out right. Ended up going to OU. He was all MAC conference OU, like, great player. Excuse me. So I kind of grew up sour to it a little bit, just because he was always sour to it, and, like, I was always, like, really, really close. I'm still really, really close with him. But then once you start watching, like, when Larry Nice was playing, like, when I was younger, like, though we didn't like it, like, I was like, dude, I want to be that guy. Like, I want to be the linebacker that everybody's like, just completely strikes fear in everybody. You know what I mean?
So when you got the offer from Ohio State, I mean, was it, you're done, like, I'm going there? Or I mean, were you close to going anywhere else? Or
Yeah, so the closest other place was Oklahoma, because their linebacker coach was from Westerville, Ohio. So we really, really hit it off. And, like, Stoops was the head coach when they offered me. And then when Lincoln Riley took the job, I was a junior in high school. He flew into the Mansfield airport. Like, and I didn't know we had a Mansfield airport, for example. And to see me. And he's like, dude, like, we're serious about getting you here. And, like, they just had Kenneth Murray at the time, which is their freak linebacker. And, like, they literally just put in the middle of the defense and just said, go get the ball. And I was like, I can be that. The one thing that turned me off from there was it was kind of a different culture of players out there, as far as, like, nothing against like the North Texas, Oklahoma border kind of guy, but like I just didn't match with those guys as well as I did here. You know what I mean? It just felt like we've had here at Ohio State, there's so many just great people and all around just really, really good dudes.
And so you get here in Columbus and you're pumped up and you're coming to the Ohio State University. You're going to be a Buckeye. You're going to be playing defense. Like, what was that freshman year? What did that look like? You redshirted, and Urban was the head coach, right?
No, so he never even made it. Coach Day.
Okay.
Actually, I was Day's first class.
So recruited by Urban, but Day was here when you started.
Right. It was rough, to be honest with you. That was still probably one of the harder years mentally of my life. Just for the fact that you weren't playing, right? And coming from a small school, like you start all 4 years varsity in both sports, like you never really, like you never had to worry about, hey, like where do I fit in?
You were used to being the guy.
You were always just, we're going to get you to fit in because you're the best one we got. You know what I mean? Like, and once you got here, that wasn't the case. And to be honest with you, that looking back on it, it was the best thing that probably happened to me was that just for the fact that like it made you put your head down even more and be like, because everybody, like when you come from a small place, you got everybody saying like, oh, like you come from a small town, you never played anybody, you're never going to make it there, like he's never going to play. And like at the time, you're like, dude, like you think like you're the dude, like you're dominating everybody. And then once you come up here, like you start to think about that. You're like, damn, are they right? Like, but then like once again, like my dad is the one that really like. He held faith in me when I honestly like had none. Like when I'm questioned, like, do you really belong there? Like me and Tommy, my roommate here, when we would we stayed in the dorm together our first year, like a true dorm, like his bed, my bed. And we lay there at night, like it just pitch black, just looking at the ceiling, being like, the fuck are we doing here? Like, do we really, just deep conversations. And like, that's why we're like, that's the closest guy I've ever been with in my life. And I mean, he can say the same because we've been through the same shit together. And like nowadays, you're never going to see that because people just move and transfer for the money and this and that. Like we stayed out, we thugged it out through the redshirt stuff and came out the time when we were the 12th and 13th two-time captain ever at Ohio State.
I mean, that goes back to that adversity piece that I was talking about earlier. Like, you learn these values from your family and growing up in a place like a rural America town in Ohio. And, like, you're not just going to quit when adversity hits. I mean, you're going to find your way on the other side of that hill. And, I mean, dude, you go from what you just said, you're laying there, man, do I belong here? You're Big Ten tight end of the year your last year.
Right.
I mean, that's beast mode right there.
Hey, y'all, it's Pat, and I'm here to talk about one of my favorite companies in the world, Ag America. Ag America is your go-to financial partner for all things agriculture. As the largest independent financial firm dedicated to rural America, Ag America is changing the game of ag lending and leveling up financing options for farmers, ranchers, and landowners all across the nation. And I'll let you in on a little secret. The thing that sets this company apart from the rest is the people. They understand firsthand the unique needs of American farmers and ranchers because many of them grew up on farms themselves. They take a farmer-focused approach to finance, prioritizing relationships over transactions to help you build a stronger financial foundation for not only yourself, but for your family. So whether you're looking to buy land or secure working capital, Ag America has your back. Visit agamerica.com today to learn more and see how they can help you achieve long-term financial success. Because don't ever forget, when farmers thrive, we all do. We'd like to take a minute to talk about Blue Otter sunglasses. Blue Otter sunglasses are the shades of choice for country superstars like Luke Combs, Cody Johnson, Riley Green, and Hardy. With Carl Zeiss scratch-resistant lenses, Blue Otter has partnered with Ag America to create the Like a Farmer frames, which benefit farmers and ranchers in rural communities. 10% of each purchase of the Like a Farmer Blue Otter sunglasses goes to Ag America Giving. Go to blueotterpolarized.com and search Like a Farmer. You can also go to likeafarmer.com and click on merch.
Going back to another adversity piece that I feel like you kind of hit, because we've been talking about the other side of the ball, But then at what point did they say, somebody finally talked you into, hey, you're playing tight end now?
Yeah, so I, like, my sophomore year, Coach Day was like, he pulled me in his office. He's like, hey, like, I was actually going, it was off season, so I was going in for my defensive, I was playing defensive end at the time, right? And I go in for my off-season defensive line meeting, and before I get to the door, Coach Jay's like, hey, I need you to talk to me. I'm like, oh, God darn, like, what the hell? You're thinking of every bad thing you did, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you're going back. Okay,
like,
I had a party
okay,
at my house
what's
a couple
this?
nights
Like,
ago.
what came out about this? What came out about this? Or like, whatever. And he's like, hey, I think you could be an NFL tight end. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah. He goes, I think with your basketball background, way you catch the ball, and just your overall physical gifts, you're a tight end. And I'm like, so you're saying, like, I was like, so you're saying you want me to play tight end? And we start going through, like, we literally, like, then he brings a strength coach in, who I love, Mick Marotti, like, Florida guy. Still this day, like, that guy right there will go down as, like, top 5 favorite people in the world for me. He would pull up all, like, the combine numbers of linebackers, edge rushers, and then tight ends. And if I was a linebacker or edge rusher, like, I would have been middle of the pack, if not lower echelon of the pack, because those are the freaks of the freaks. You go to tight end, you're cream of the crop. You know what I mean? Like, the way you run, the way you move. So I was like, all right, let me call my pops and we'll talk about it. So he played tight end in college. And I call him, and I'm like, dude, he's like, is that something you want to do? I'm like, dude, I don't know. I just want to play. Like, I don't care where it's at. Like, I just want to play. Because I was playing special teams. Like, I really wasn't, like, playing. You know what I mean? And I came back to him, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. We'll try it. Rough. Like, the first, like, 6 months, like, rough.
And who was throwing to you at that time? What would that have been, Justin?
No, that was CJ.
Okay.
That was CJ and both.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, at that time. And then, so I played that whole year at tight end. I was the 12 personnel. Like, Jeremy Rucker was our starting tight end. And I was, like, the inline guy playing, like, 20 snaps, playing all the special teams. Like, still not, like, I'm not comfortable. I'm not finding any sort of niche. Like, they're playing me because I work my ass off. You know what I mean? Not because I'm very good yet.
And before you even, like, I do want to hit on that because I think that's one of the coolest things about you is your work ethic is unmatched. And I know for a fact it comes just because of how you grew up and, like, working on the farm and, like, not giving up. Like, I do want to give you your flowers in the fact of you could play any position just because of your work ethic. And I believe that.
No, I do too. And I think, but, like, I think you have to think that just if you want to do anything at this level, because
Or anything in life to that extent, right?
Because, I mean, if you manifest things enough, like, and you want it bad enough, like, I don't think there's any doubt you can get it. But, yeah, Jeremy's a tight end. I'm playing. Probably shouldn't be. Not very good yet. Just out there, like, blocking some people good, missing some people, catch a couple passes, like, nothing special. Then we go to the Rose Bowl. We were down so many linebackers. Like, everybody's hurt, everybody's got surgery. And they come to me, they're like, dude, Utah plays ton of 12 personnel tight end. We want you to play a stand-up defensive end and just mash this tight end. I'm like, sign me up. I don't care. Like, get me away from tight end. I hate it. So I get my first ever start back at defensive end. Right? Never started a game before. Started at defensive end. Play awesome. Like, have a great game. Like, and I'm like, I'm home. I'm good. I'm back where I belong. Like, win the Rose Bowl, like, one of the greatest games ever. Like, awesome. Then they fire our whole defensive staff. I'm like, oh, okay. So this guy coming in, supposed to be a 3-down front, which will fit perfect to me because I can stand up and play a little bit of linebacker, a little bit of defensive end. Comes in and plays a 4-down front with 2 true defensive end, and I wasn't that. So now I'm back to square one as far as, like, where do I fit? And this is going into my true senior year, like, about to be a senior. And I'm like, where do I fit in this place? And then the old tight end coach just hounded me like every day. Like while I'm still playing, like I played old spring ball on defense. I played middle backer on defense. But Tommy, my best friend, was also a middle backer. And I wasn't like, and it bothered me. Like I'm competing with the dude that like, it's my best friend. You know what I mean? And tight end coach calling me. I'm like, all right. We never really got along to that point. He called him back, and I'm like, dude, listen, like, I'll come back over there because, one, I'm not a true middle linebacker, I'm not fast enough. Two, you got to stop overcoaching me, and you got to just like let me figure it out. He goes, all right. So I come back, and that was it. I stayed there and never looked back.
So now you're playing tight end. You're in your senior year now. And would that have been, did you do?
2 years of tight end. I did my 5th year.
Okay. So, but I want to go to your most recent one, 2023, because I love, you talk about Ohio State. I mean, it's just football. I mean, like everybody loves football in this area. And I'm a Gator, as you know, as much as I hate the Buckeyes, I give credit to the passion that these fans have. I want to kind of go back to the Michigan game. Both teams are undefeated. And this is in Ann Arbor in your last year, correct?
Yeah.
Like, tell me about that game. Like, I mean, because you're a dude now, right? I mean, you're playing tight end. You're one of the best in the country. You got Big Ten tight end of the year, like I just mentioned. Like, you're a dude on the field. And people are looking up to you, and you're going into Ann Arbor, both undefeated. Like, what's your mindset going into a game like that?
So the year before, it was the same way. We did it 2 years. And the year before, when we played them here, back in the end zone, we're losing by maybe 10 points or something. Back in the end zone, pass comes to me. Dude comes and punches right through the ball, breaks the ball up. Like, you go to a bathroom, in my bathroom right now, that picture is still hanging on my wall in there.
Of you about to catch the ball?
Of me about to catch the ball, and the balls, he's punching it out. Like, and that was another one of those moments where you're like, that changed your life forever. Like, everything's good until it's not. You know what I mean? And that right there was the point where you realize that, damn, like that really just happened. So fast forward to what you're talking about, 2023, we go back up there, we're both undefeated again. I'm like, ain't no way. Like, I just dedicated everything. Like every day after practice, me, my tight end, one of my tight end coaches, Sean Binks, and then we had one of the EQ guys, like just a general's like EQ staff guy. His name's Caleb.
Can you elaborate on what an EQ guy is?
He does all of our equipment stuff.
Okay.
Basically gives out if you need stocks.
Yeah.
If you need, does a lot, like great guy.
Yeah.
Okay, like student here. And I'm like, listen, we did contested catches every day. So my tight end coach would just grab me, maul me, like try and do everything, and he would just throw passes. Like, so you're constantly working through catching contested catches. Fast forward 2023, you have 45 whatever catches, and you don't drop a pass. Like, contested catch, it doesn't matter. Like, you don't drop a pass. We get to that game, I'm like, I'm ready. Like, this is what I'm made for. Like, you know what I mean? Needless to say, we fell short again in that aspect. We had it rolling. I think we had a drive where we ran the ball every single time down the field and scored. We're like, this is what we trained for. This is what, like, because everything in the off season was dedicated. Like, for those of you who don't know, in Ohio, like, if you don't win this game, like, nothing else matters. Like, you can go 1-11, like, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, that's the only game that matters. And so the off season we work every, like, after the workout, it'd be like, okay, now we got the team up north period. So we call it. And it was shitty. But everybody knew, like, everybody was locked in because, like, of how much it changed your life when you do lose that game. Like I mean, this house is loaded with eggs. Like, you look on your DMs and stuff, and people just talking crazy stuff. You know what I mean? And that's like, you're like, okay, like, it's warranted. You know what I mean? Like, especially when you have a play like that to where could have, like, flipped the trajectory of the game. Like, I'll live with that for the rest of my life and never ever live that down.
Damn. That's deep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one, and you just said it, like, that's one, it's got to be one of the biggest rivalries, especially in college football, is, I mean, Ohio State,
yeah.
Michigan. You got to beat Michigan.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Like, I mean, you ask anybody here, obviously, it's the biggest rivalry in all sports. And if you don't do it, like, that's tough. Like, it's tainted on you forever right there.
What would you say that you've played has been the hardest place to play away? Ann Arbor?
Yeah, that's the place I hate going the most because, like, I hate all those people up there. Like, I can't tell you how much, like, they'd probably say the same thing about us, but I don't really care. Like, scumbags up there. Don't go up there. Like,
I love it, man. Listen, I mean, and you can name a few of them out there: Florida State, Clemson, South Carolina. I mean, but
right.
Michigan. I mean, Auburn, Alabama. Like, it's passion. I mean, they respect it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, like I mentioned, Big Ten title of the year. I mean, you made the right decision staying with Ohio State, and we talked about it a little bit earlier, Cade. Like, there's not a ton of people staying in one spot anymore due to NIL. And you just said, "Hey, I'm just going to overcome this adversity piece. That's how I was raised, and that's how I'm going to continue to play ball. Is if something comes to me, I'm going to find my way to get through it, and I'm going to run right through the middle of it because that's who you are." And you don't have that much anymore. I mean, money's getting thrown around. NIL's crazy. You started in college when NIL really wasn't a thing. And as you continued to grow and be successful in college, you obviously, had great NIL deals. I mean, and they were all agriculture based, that's why I love you. But, like, what are your thoughts on kind of today's NIL in college football?
Yeah. I always originally, NIL was made for the fact that, hey, if you are good enough at promoting yourself, that outside brands can come in, hey, I want you to sponsor my company because I love what you stand for. Not, hey, I'm a school collective, have nothing to do with any sort of business or company whatsoever. I just want to give you $500,000 just to play here because I'm a huge Ohio State fan. Like, it's two very, very different things. But without basically guidelines and regulations, and there's always loopholes to say, hey, this is part of a company, even though, like, everybody well knows it's not. That's why I was like, when it came down to getting money, like my last year there, I was like, listen, like, give the money to people that are about to leave, because, like, I want to win. Give me deals with these different companies, like, give me deals with John Deere, give me deals with a seed company, give me, like, stuff that's going to help me forever and pay me in that aspect of things. So, like, the deal with AgPro, for example, like, whenever I need a piece of equipment, like, call them up and, like, hey, like, that's something you guys be willing to do? Is that something you got? And be like, in a week, the tractor's sitting there, or the combine's sitting there. And granted, we only farm probably 150 acres. So they're getting a very large promotion for very, very minimal use on the piece of equipment. So great for them and great for us, because it helps us out, helps Dad out tremendously, because I mean, we're only farming 150 acres, 200 acres. We don't have the nicest stuff. So we spend a lot of time wrenching on things, and which in hindsight, learn a ton, know how to wrench. But when you got to stop every other day because, hey, this chain broke, or hey, this belt's broke, not exactly feasible.
Makes total sense. And so you finish up your college career, and now we're going in the NFL. Before we get in the NFL, I want to play a game, though, that I like doing on the show. It's called This or That.
Okay, go ahead.
Presented by my friends at Ag America. We've been talking about Ag America before we sat down, and I'm looking forward to hopefully maybe you exploring some of what Ag America does. I mean, what they're doing to farmers and ranchers and land investors across the country of making their dreams come true on owning that piece of property has been fantastic. So I appreciate Ag America, and this game is called This or That. So I'm going to give you two options, and you just, top of your mind, just choose what you would rather have.
Okay.
First one, would you rather have the most profitable year at Stover Farms,
Okay,
or a Super Bowl championship?
Super Bowl championship, just because of the fact that if I win a Super Bowl championship, that means I can do more stuff on my farm.
I like how you twisted that a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Pops won't be mad at that answer, and you get a Super Bowl ring. I like
Right.
that. What's a better feeling, dunking on a defender or mossing a defender in the end zone for a touchdown?
Dunking on the defender.
That was quick. I mean, tell me.
No doubt about it. Because there's only 5 guys on the floor. Like, your face is out. Like, when you put somebody, like, you look up to their stands and you give them, you know what I mean? Like, when you moss on somebody in football, like, it's very different because there's so much, like, you can't even feel what's going on around you because there's so much energy and so many people. Like, in basketball, like, you feel that shit.
Love that. All right, so you're tatted up. You got some tattoos. I'm going to give you, you got to choose one of these tattoos, all right?
Okay.
Are you getting farm life tattooed on you or
Okay.
football life?
Farm life.
Another quick answer. I mean, why?
Yeah, that's what everything's like. Real big, like, patriotic guy. Like, that's what my whole entire everything like goes from here down. It's all like, all has to do with like America, basically. Like, big ass America guy. You know what I mean? The greatest country in the world. And then we get to live in it. Proud of that shit. You know.
I love that answer. Now I kind of want to go into left field. I mean, because a true patriot like yourself, I mean, where does that, like, I'm trying to dig it out of you. Like, where does that type of passion come from? I mean, everything that you do, I mean, let's back up. I'm keeping in mind that we're sitting here in your college house. You're working your ass off, cleaning it out. You just got drafted to the NFL. You're tight end or whatever the hell you want to be in the NFL. And, like, you're still working your tail off here to clean out the house, get rid of the college life, going into your professional life. Like, this work ethic and the passion for your country and the passion for the farm and your passion for sports, like, where does all this come from?
No, I just think that, like, one, like, what other place can you go and go play in the NFL, make millions of dollars, go be able to say, hey, I want to farm, and I'm going to do that no matter what the circumstances are. Like, I'm going to figure out a way to be successful. Like, you can't do that in Europe, France. Sure you can, but who the hell wants to do it in Europe and France? Like, this is America, you know what I mean? Like, this is the greatest country in the world for a reason. And let's hope right now we're going to get back on track and make it the greatest country again. That's what we're trying to do.
What would you say, that's fantastic. What would you say to the farmers out there that are working every single day to keep this country spinning? We talk about it on the show all the time. I mean, if I would sit here and just say, you know, and COVID happened, right? And we identified our essential workers, and we did a decent job. It was very state by state on how they handled COVID, but like, I think it gets overlooked sometimes on how important the farmers are in this country. And like, we could call every single farmer right now, if they turn their tractors off for maybe, let's say 60, 90 days, like, we would be close to starving in that point. And like, sometimes that just goes over people's head on how important these people are. Like, what would you say to the farmers out there?
Man, that's what I try to, like, that's what I try and say all the time. Like, my whole goal is to, one, give those people a voice that don't necessarily, or don't have a platform to have a voice. You know what I mean? Like, that's, like, those dudes that, like, my pops, like, you watch your dad work like that and work like that and work, and my grandfather to work the way he does. The dude's 75 years old. He still surveys for the excavating business. Like, he drives stakes every day with a sledgehammer. Like, that dude is just, and to watch that and be like, we got dudes with suits and collars sitting behind desks that are making decisions for guys like that. Like, it's just flat out wrong. And that's the one thing, like, I've always tried to do is just give, hey, like, make sure you give those dudes the credit they deserve, because, I mean, you know, as you know as well as I do, like, that blue collar, like, work ethic, like, there's not many left.
Spot on. So, and I love, man, see, that's why I love playing that game. I mean, holy cow, it leads to just great takes like that.
That really took a detour on us.
So thank you for that. But so we get to the NFL. We talked about it a little bit, but just take me to the days leading up to the draft. I mean, did you even have any idea? I mean, like I said, you were a boss at Ohio State, Big Ten tight end of the year. I mean, there's not a lot of people that can hold that to themselves. And it's like, did you I mean, leading up to the NFL, you knew you were going. Did you go to the combine?
Yeah.
Okay, so you went to the combine. How did that go? I mean, coming out of the combine, how did you feel? Pretty good.
Coming out of the combine, I was like, I just did exactly. I had to run fast, and for a tight end, run 4.65, like at 250 pounds.
Did you run 4.65?
Yeah.
Damn.
So I was like, nobody thought I was going to run fast. I don't know why. Still trying to figure that out. Regardless, I knew I could run fast. So I was like, if I can run anywhere in a 4.6, I'm in good shape. And my goal is a 4.69. I ran a 4.65. I didn't run my second attempt. I was like, I'm good. That's all I want to do. And I was pumped. I was super, super happy about that. And I left, and I was like, damn, that's good. My interviews went well. I felt like everything went well. And well enough to get drafted. Obviously, it's never. I mean, unless you go number 1 overall, everybody's like, "Oh, I'm slighted," and that. You know what I mean? But like, just the way it is, I guess. So I'm happy, super blessed, super happy to be the position I am for sure.
And then, what did you have any idea of, like any other teams, or was it Houston the whole time?
To be honest with you, like, you never know, like, because every team acts like, "Oh, I love you, I love you," even though, like, sometimes like, motherfucker, you don't actually like me. You know what I mean? Like, come on, like, I am not your kind of guy. Like,
does it get talked about? I mean, because you played both sides of the ball pretty much your whole life.
Right.
Like, at that level, does it still get talked about, like going in the NFL, like maybe the opportunity to play both sides of the ball?
oh yeah,
Like before
like,
you get
there were
picked up?
multiple. There were probably 3 or 4 different formal interviews I had at the combine that were like, okay, we're in a pinch late in the season. Can you play a goal line package linebacker, goal line package stand-up defensive end? I'm like, dude,
Sign me up.
I can play full-time defensive end if you want me to. Like, just, I'll do whatever you want me to do. Like, I just want to matter. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to, like, I'm pretty sure, like, all athletes, I don't know if they are like this, but for me, like, it's just, I just want to matter. You know what I mean? Like, I want to matter to the point where, hey, if I struggle, when I play shitty, we're going to struggle. You know what I mean? Like, I love, like, when you play with, like, hey, like, I matter so much to where I'm a big determining factor on what we do here. Sign me up.
Who do you look up to, like a former player, when it comes to the NFL? There's
Sure.
somebody that really comes to mind. I'm a Tampa guy, so keep in mind
Okay.
who's in my mind. But who do you think,
Okay.
like, that you say you look up to?
I know who's in your mind, but I'm a Jeremy Shockey guy.
Who's in my mind?
Gronk. Yeah.
Yep. And then on the other side of the ball, I would say, just growing up watching him, just John Lynch, man. I mean, John Lynch, the defensive side of the ball, he was a beast. And he always looking for that ball, hard hitter.
No doubt.
But yeah, I mean, Gronk, dude. I mean, because what you just said reminds me of a Gronk. It's like, I want to put my team on the back. And
Right. Yeah.
like if we're struggling, whether it's a red zone package or not getting enough touchdowns in the red zone, like, I want that to be on me. It's because I'm struggling.
Right. And I watch a ton of, I've taken a ton of, like, not move, but like skill traits from him, I guess, as far as just watching film from him. But the dude I really try and emulate the most, like, I want to be a mix between, like, Kevin Garnett in basketball and Jeremy Shockey in the football field. Pair that together, you get me. Just for the pure fact of, like, Jeremy Shockey was like, dude was that dude. He was wild. You know what I mean? Like, just like always on, like, doesn't matter what time of day, like, he's always on. The dude's always talking shit. Both those guys. And I just think that's how the game's supposed to be played.
I love that. And then, so you get drafted to Houston, and you've just got to be pumped to be reunited with the boy, CJ, man. I mean, let's talk about that a little bit. You had to have expected his year last year, right? Or was that
100%? Everybody in that facility is like, dude, how in the hell do they take somebody else first over him? Granted, great opportunity, great, worked out fine. I mean, like he would say too, like, good Lord's got a plan for everybody. You know what I mean? The dude is very, very talented dude, and he's a true winner. Like, the dude just wants the ball and win ball games. Don't care about the money. Like, yes, obviously the money is wonderful for him.
very big on his faith, too? I mean, he's
Very
just,
big on his faith.
yeah.
Always was, though. Like, that wasn't something like that was something he really, like, in college, like, same dude. You know what I mean? Like, always trust, like, he's like, dude, like, whatever happens is going to happen for an exact reason. Like, it's not my job to be worried about it. You know what I mean? That's not my job. He's got it. He's going to take care of the worries. I just got to go out there and ball. And that's what he did. Like, exactly what he did.
So do you see CJ going into, I mean, this sophomore year of his? I mean, you see the same thing coming out?
Oh, yeah. It's better. It's enhanced because just like
Got some dudes on that team right now.
right. I mean, when you got somebody that's talented, like, you got to do your best to put like weapons around him so he can be as good as he can be. And that's exactly what they did.
What do you expect from Houston Texans this year?
Man, I mean, we're chasing the Super Bowl. Like, that's what I've been there for, 2.5 months, and it's obvious, like, the way it's worked, the way you ran, like the way everything's ran, the way everything's organized. Like, it's detailed, it's honest, and I mean, we're chasing the Super Bowl. There's no doubt about it.
How do you feel like when you think about, and in my opinion, I love that you end up in a team in a state like Texas. I mean, you want to talk about agriculture in rural America. I mean, Texas is its own country when it comes to that. I mean, there's some faithful football, rural America, hard work, family valued people in that state. I mean, and they love their Texans. They obviously love their Cowboys. We don't have to get into that. But, I mean, how do you feel just being in the state of Texas now?
That's great. I was really relieved to be down there just for my whole beliefs and my whole thoughts. It's a much better spot to me than Seattle would be or LA. You know what I mean? So I've driven around just once my truck got down there. We had like a couple of days off on the weekend, and I was actually in a hotel still. And I was like, I'm not sitting here all day. So I just left, drove just to see like what that's really about. 'Cause I never really left Ohio. You know what I mean? And I was driving around. It's pretty wild out there.
Yeah.
It's flat. There's nothing. It's cool.
What do you have planned? Because and this is a cool thing, and I want everybody to know, like, even starting back in the NIL days, like, you always you focus on your farm and your family and trying to help that side of your business. Like, what plans do you have moving forward when it comes to Stover Farms and your personal stuff?
Yeah, man, I just sat down actually with a fella that I've been friends with for the past couple of years now, and I've always loved his place, his farm. And I've always told him, like, hey, like, I would love the opportunity to buy this place one day. It's my goal. It's been my only goal is to play ball, buy this farm. Like, that's it. 400 some acres. So sat down with him, and I think we're moving along at the right pace here. And I mean, this is his pop's place, so he wants to see it be farmed and taken care of. And I told him, I said, I don't think there's anybody better fit to do that than me, just my sheer passion of, like, I want to make this place a show place. Like, it has potential to be like that kind of place you drive by, you're like, wow, like, whose is that? You know what I mean? And like I said earlier, like, I really just want to give my dad the option to be like, dude, you're done driving an hour and 15 minutes every morning. You're done driving an hour and 15 minutes every night. You're staying home. We're feeding cows and we're farming. Like, that's all we're doing.
Growing the operation.
That's it. Like, we're just trying to make this profitable and sustainable for the both of us. And it's something like, it'll make you emotional if you talk about it enough, but like, that's just something like I've watched, and I'm like, dude, I wish I could have done it earlier, but I mean, you can't do it when you're 16 years old, so.
Dude, you have I love that about you, Cade. You got that passion in you, and I love that you came on the show today, and we've got a great mutual friend and Stephen McBee. But like, what made you want to come on the show and kind of share your passion for that community when you think about rural America and who embodies it?
Yeah, like I said, like, it's just I've always tried to give those people a voice, like the blue collar America people, the dudes that just get up, go to work, and do exactly what they're supposed to do and keep their mouth shut. Like, those people, like, they don't get talked about. It's the people that I can't say all this stuff on camera, but needless to say, they need a voice opposed to a lot of other people that have a voice right now. And I think a lot of people are scared to say the truth behind things like this. Like today's day and age, like nobody wants to hear the actual truth. Like shit, my girlfriend don't want to hear the actual truth sometimes, and sometimes like that's exactly what needs to be said. You know what I mean? Like, and if you're not the person that's going to be like, hey, this is exactly the case is, this is the way you should do things. Obviously, not just because this is somebody's opinion, but this is the way you should do things because, hey, this is proven fact that economy is this way. Your house, your life goes this way if you don't go out and do shit dumb when you got a family. You know what I mean? Like it's just normal stuff that like it's proven that if you act a certain way and you work a certain way, like good things are gonna happen to you. And I feel like all of blue collar America like will embody that and appreciates that because they just get up, go to work, and do the right thing every day.
Making me run through a wall, Cade. Seriously, I appreciate you coming on the show today, man.
No doubt.
I mean, keep kicking ass. You're a big locker room guy. I can see the passion in you, not only on the football field but on the farm. And rural America gets better as we continue to give them a platform. And you said it perfectly. So I appreciate what you're doing.
Oh yeah, appreciate you guys having me on.
Everybody, appreciate y'all tuning in. Ohio State's former tight end and Houston Texans' new tight end, Cade Stover. Continue to follow along on our journey to fight for the farmer. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do whatever you got to do to be like a farmer.